Have you ever walked into a room and completely forgotten why you went there in the first place? Or struggled to recall the name of someone you've known for years? Don't worry. Those moments happen to all of us, especially as we journey past 65. But what if I told you that your brain, much like your muscles, can be trained to stay fit, agile, and razor sharp? I'm not talking about expensive supplements or complicated routines, just simple, enjoyable brain games that actually work. Hello there. I'm delighted you've joined me today for this journey into keeping our minds as vibrant and active as possible, regardless of what our birth certificates might say. The truth is, while some cognitive changes are part of the natural aging process, there's so much we can do to maintain our mental edge and even improve it. You know, there's this persistent myth that once we reach a certain age, our brains are set in stone, that we can't learn new things or improve our mental abilities. But modern neuroscience has completely shattered that outdated belief. Your brain is remarkably adaptable at any age, thanks to what scientists call neuroplasticity, its ability to reorganize itself, create new neural connections, and even generate new brain cells throughout your entire life. Today, I'm going to share 4 specific brain games that aren't just fun to play, but are backed by serious research showing they can help maintain and even enhance your cognitive abilities. These aren't just random puzzles. They're targeted activities designed to exercise different parts of your brain in meaningful ways. And the best part? No fancy equipment or expensive subscriptions required. These are games you can start playing today, right in the comfort of your own home. Some might even remind you of activities you enjoyed years ago, just with a brain-boosting twist. Before we dive into our first brain game, let me share why this matters so much. When we keep our minds active and challenged, we're not just passing time. We're actually building what scientists call our cognitive reserve. Think of it as a mental savings account that helps protect your brain against the effects of aging or even disease. The more diverse mental activities you engage in throughout life, the more resilience your brain develops. Now let's get started with our first brain-boosting game, the Memory Palace. This ancient technique, also known as the method of loci, dates back to ancient Greece and Rome, where orators used it to memorize lengthy speeches. Today, it's used by memory champions around the world, and it works wonders for everyday memory challenges too. Here's how to create your own memory palace. First, visualize a familiar place, like your home, a favorite walking route, or even your childhood house. The key is to choose somewhere you know extremely well. Next, mentally walk through this space, identifying specific locations along your route. The front door, the kitchen table, the bathroom sink, your favorite reading chair, and so on. Once you have your route established, you can use it to remember anything, a shopping list, people's names at a gathering, or important points for a presentation. Simply associate each item you want to remember with one of the locations in your memory palace, and make the associations vivid and even ridiculous. The more outlandish, the better. For example, if you need to remember to buy eggs, milk, and bread, you might visualize cracked eggs all over your front doormat, a cow sitting on your sofa, and giant loaves of bread blocking your hallway. When you need to recall your list, simply take a mental walk through your memory palace, and the items will appear as you encounter each location. What makes this technique so powerful is that it leverages the brain's exceptional ability to remember spatial information and vivid imagery. It transforms abstract information into concrete visual scenes that are much easier to recall. And the more you practice, the more efficient your brain becomes at creating and retrieving these memory associations. I recommend starting small, perhaps with a 5-item shopping list, and gradually building up to more complex memorization tasks. Many of my friends who practice this technique regularly report astonishing improvements in their everyday memory after just a few weeks of consistent practice. Now let's move on to our second brain-boosting activity, the word construction game. This delightful word game serves as an excellent workout for your linguistic abilities and creative thinking. Start with a longer word, perhaps something seasonal like springtime or celebration. Set a timer for 5 minutes and challenge yourself to create as many new words as possible using only the letters found in your starting word. The rules are simple. You can use each letter only as many times as it appears in the original word. For example, from springtime, you might form words like spring, time, ring, trip, pine, and so on. To add an extra challenge, set a minimum word length of 3 or 4 letters. What makes this game particularly beneficial is that it requires multiple cognitive skills working in tandem. You're engaging your working memory as you keep track of available letters, your pattern recognition as you identify potential word combinations, and your vocabulary retrieval systems as you search your mental dictionary for matching words. I like to play this game with my morning coffee, using a different starting word each day. Not only does it wake up my brain, but I've noticed my word retrieval has become noticeably quicker during conversations. Those frustrating tip-of-the-tongue moments happen much less frequently now. You can play this game alone with pencil and paper, but it's also wonderful to play with a partner or small group. Taking turns suggesting starting words and comparing your lists afterward adds a social dimension that makes the activity even more engaging. Plus, you'll likely learn new words from each other. The beauty of both the Memory Palace technique and the word construction game is that they're not just exercises, they're genuinely enjoyable activities that challenge your brain in meaningful ways. They tap into your natural abilities while stretching your cognitive muscles in directions that counteract some of the most common age-related cognitive changes. What I love about these brain games is that they fit so naturally into our daily routines. You don't need to carve out special brain training time. These activities can be woven into the fabric of your everyday life. And speaking of daily routines, that brings us perfectly to our third brain-boosting game, the Mental Navigation Challenge. This powerful exercise taps into your brain's spatial reasoning and visualization abilities, cognitive skills that often show decline as we age, but respond remarkably well to regular practice. Here's how it works. Before heading out to a familiar destination, perhaps the grocery store, a friend's home, or your favorite coffee shop, take a moment to mentally trace your entire route before leaving the house. Visualize each turn, landmark, and traffic light you'll encounter along the way. See yourself navigating the entire journey in your mind's eye as vividly as possible. Once you arrive at your destination, compare your mental map to the actual route you took. Were you able to accurately predict each turn? Did you forget any landmarks? Were there any surprises along the way? This mental navigation practice strengthens neural pathways related to spatial reasoning and helps maintain your natural sense of direction, something many of us notice changing with age. But there's an even more powerful version of this exercise that I'd like to challenge you to try once a week, the Alternative Route Challenge. Instead of taking your usual path to a familiar destination, plan and follow a completely different route. This might mean turning right instead of left out of your driveway, taking side streets instead of main roads, or approaching your destination from the opposite direction. The key is to navigate successfully without relying on GPS technology, using only your mental map and observational skills. When researchers at the University College London studied the brains of London taxi drivers, who must memorize the layout of over 25,000 city streets to earn their license, they discovered something remarkable. These drivers had significantly larger hippocampi than the average person. The hippocampus is crucial for memory formation and spatial navigation, and these findings suggest that regularly challenging our navigational abilities can actually strengthen this vital brain structure. I started practicing this mental navigation technique after I noticed myself becoming overly reliant on my GPS for even routine trips. After just a few months of regular practice, I was delighted to find myself feeling more confident with directions and even enjoying the process of finding my way in unfamiliar areas. That sense of spatial awareness that I thought was permanently diminishing had actually begun to improve. Remember, the goal isn't perfection, it's the mental workout that matters. Even if you make a wrong turn or need to check a map occasionally, you're still giving your brain valuable exercise. And there's another hidden benefit to this practice. By taking different routes, you'll discover new sights in your community, perhaps a charming park, an interesting shop, or a beautiful garden you never knew existed. Now let's move on to our fourth and final brain game, one that I personally find the most enjoyable, the Story Chain Challenge. This delightful activity works wonders for your creative thinking, memory, and language skills all at once. It's also perfect for playing with grandchildren, friends, or in any social gathering. The basic concept is simple. Create a collaborative story where each person adds just one sentence, building upon what came before. When playing alone, challenge yourself to create a coherent story, adding one new sentence each day for a week or more. Write down each addition to help track your progress. The key challenge is ensuring each new sentence logically connects to the previous ones while moving the narrative forward in interesting ways. For an extra cognitive boost, incorporate specific elements into your story. Perhaps each sentence must include a color, a type of food, or a word beginning with the next letter of the alphabet. These constraints might seem limiting at first, but they actually spark creativity by forcing your brain to find novel connections and solutions. What makes the Story Chain Challenge so effective is that it engages multiple cognitive domains simultaneously. You're exercising your memory as you recall the previous elements of the story. Your language processing gets a workout as you formulate grammatically correct and meaningful sentences. And your executive function, those higher-level thinking skills, is hard at work maintaining narrative coherence and planning ahead. I started a monthly story chain evening with a few friends from my community center, and it's become something we all eagerly anticipate. We laugh until our sides hurt at the unexpected twists our tales take. And I've noticed how much quicker my verbal responses have become in everyday conversations since we began this practice. The social dimension of this game adds another crucial element to brain health. Scientists have long documented the cognitive benefits of regular social interaction. When we engage in meaningful conversations and collaborative activities with others, we're giving our brains powerful stimulation that isolated mental exercises simply can't match. If you're playing the Story Chain game with others, consider recording your creations using a smartphone or simple voice recorder. It's not only fun to listen back to your collaborative stories, but the recording becomes a delightful memory you can revisit and share with others. What unites all four of these brain games, the Memory Palace, Word Construction, Mental Navigation, and Story Chain, is that they target specific cognitive abilities while remaining genuinely enjoyable. They don't feel like medical interventions or tedious exercises. They feel like play, and that's precisely why they're so effective. When we engage in activities we find pleasurable, our brains release dopamine, a neurotransmitter associated with both pleasure and learning. This chemical cocktail creates ideal conditions for forming new neural connections and strengthening existing ones. In essence, when we combine challenge with enjoyment, we create the perfect environment for cognitive enhancement. Another beautiful aspect of these games is their scalability. Each can be made simpler or more complex depending on your current abilities and comfort level. Start where you are and gradually increase the challenge as your skills improve. Remember, the goal isn't to compare yourself to others, but to engage consistently with activities that stretch your own mental abilities. I want to share something personal that might resonate with many of you. After my 70th birthday, I noticed myself becoming increasingly forgetful and sometimes struggling to follow complex conversations. Rather than accepting these changes as inevitable, I committed to incorporating brain-strengthening activities like these into my daily routine. The transformation over the past few years has been nothing short of remarkable. Not only has my recall improved, but I've noticed myself thinking more clearly, solving problems more creatively, and feeling more mentally confident in various situations. These changes didn't happen overnight. They were the result of consistent, enjoyable practice over time. And if I can experience these benefits, I have every confidence that you can too. Now, you might be wondering how often you should engage with these brain games to see real results. While any mental stimulation is better than none, research suggests that consistency matters more than duration. 15 minutes of focused brain exercise each day will yield far better results than an occasional hour-long session once a week. I recommend starting with just one of the 4 games we've discussed today, whichever one appeals to you most. Practice it for about 10 minutes daily for a week until it begins to feel familiar. Then, gradually introduce the others into your routine, perhaps rotating between them throughout the week. The key is making these activities part of your normal day, as automatic as brushing your teeth or having your morning coffee. You might use the memory palace technique while grocery shopping, play the word construction game during TV commercials, practice mental navigation on your way to appointments, and enjoy the story chain challenge during family gatherings or phone calls with friends. Many people ask me if digital brain training apps and websites are worth exploring. While there are certainly some excellent digital options available, the brain games I've shared today have distinct advantages. First, they're completely free. Second, they can be enjoyed anywhere without requiring a device or internet connection. And third, they easily incorporate into social situations, providing that crucial interpersonal engagement that's so vital for overall brain health. That said, if you enjoy technology, by all means explore digital options as supplements to these core activities. Just be aware that many commercial brain training programs make promises that exceed current scientific evidence. The most reputable programs clearly state which specific cognitive skills their games target, rather than making sweeping claims about overall brain enhancement. Something else to keep in mind is that these brain games work best as part of a holistic approach to cognitive health. Regular physical exercise, quality sleep, stress management, nutritious eating, and meaningful social connections all play essential roles in maintaining a sharp mind as we age. Think of these elements as working in concert, each one amplifying the benefits of the others. For instance, research consistently shows that moderate physical activity increases blood flow to the brain and stimulates the growth of new neurons, particularly in the hippocampus, that crucial memory center we discussed earlier. Even a 30-minute daily walk can make a remarkable difference in your cognitive functioning. Similarly, prioritizing good sleep hygiene is vital for memory consolidation. During deep sleep, your brain processes and stores the new information and skills you've acquired during the day. Without sufficient quality sleep, even the most diligent brain training will yield limited results. If you're experiencing sleep difficulties, please consider speaking with your healthcare provider, as addressing sleep issues often leads to immediate cognitive improvements. I'd also like to offer a gentle reminder about patience and self-compassion on this journey. Brain changes, both positive and negative, happen gradually over time. You likely won't notice dramatic improvements after just a few days of these exercises, but with consistent practice over weeks and months, the cumulative effects can be truly remarkable. And on days when you feel mentally foggy or struggle with one of these games, please be kind to yourself. Cognitive fluctuations are entirely normal at any age. Sometimes our brains simply need rest, especially when we're stressed, fighting off an illness, or not sleeping well. These temporary dips don't define your cognitive abilities or predict your future mental sharpness. What I find most inspiring about brain health research is how it constantly reinforces our remarkable capacity for growth and adaptation throughout our entire lives. The old notion that cognitive decline is inevitable and irreversible has been thoroughly debunked. Instead, we now understand that our brains remain malleable and responsive to stimulation well into our 80s, 90s, and beyond. I'm reminded of a wonderful woman I met at a community workshop last year. At 87, she had decided to learn Italian, not because she planned to travel to Italy, but simply because she wanted to challenge her brain in new ways. 6 months later, she wasn't just mastering basic Italian phrases. She reported feeling sharper in all aspects of her daily life. Her confidence had soared, and she was considering taking up painting next, something she'd always wanted to try, but never found the courage to begin. Her story illustrates something profound about cognitive health. When we challenge our brains in one area, the benefits often spill over into other aspects of our mental functioning. The neural pathways strengthened through our brain games can enhance your performance in numerous daily activities, from remembering appointments to learning new skills to engaging in deeper conversations. I hope these 4 brain games, the memory palace, word construction, mental navigation, and story chain become valued parts of your cognitive wellness routine. Each offers unique benefits while being genuinely enjoyable, adaptable to different skill levels, and easily integrated into your existing daily activities. Remember that maintaining a sharp mind isn't about eliminating every senior moment or achieving perfect recall. It's about continuing to engage actively with the world around you, embracing new challenges with curiosity, and nurturing the remarkable organ that makes you uniquely you, your brain. I'd love to hear how these brain games work for you. Which one did you find most enjoyable? Have you noticed improvements in specific aspects of your thinking or memory? Perhaps you've created your own variations of these activities that you'd like to share. Your experiences and insights are invaluable, not just to me, but to our entire community of lifelong learners. Thank you for joining me today on this exploration of cognitive wellness. I truly believe that with the right tools and consistent practice, you can maintain a vibrant, agile mind for many years to come. After all, keeping your brain razor sharp isn't just about adding years to your life, it's about adding life to your years. Until next time, keep challenging that beautiful brain of yours. The mental vitality you preserve and enhance today is one of the greatest gifts you can give to yourself and to everyone who cherishes you. Here's to staying sharp, curious, and mentally vibrant at every age.